we went broke so many times trying to build this business. We've seen some huge names like Justin Bieber, Jojo Siwa, Scott Disick, some of the Kardashians. Jennifer Lopez has made a purchase on the website, and a lot of those people love the product, and the thing is they've all paid for it. Go find content creators that align with your vision of your brand, where you want to take it.
Tell me the story about the waitress.
She was making about $25,000 a year as a waitress. Everything that we recommended, she did, and then did it tenfold. She now makes over $100,000 a month. You learn what moves the needle, and when you can train via ChatGPT, Claude AI, you go and bring your hooks into those. You have it spew out 100 different hooks that you think would go viral. Go use AI to your advantage. Go bring that to your team meetings with your creators. You're one of the biggest blessings in my life ever.
Appreciate that, man.
I used to watch you on YouTube and take notes.
This is Hudson. He's grown one of the fastest growing direct-to-consumer brands that has ever existed. #1 on TikTok shops, Comfrt Clothing is changing how direct-to-consumer brands market their product. He has an army of creators that get billions of impressions every single year, posting multiple times a day. Watch as he breaks down his entire story and all of his marketing strategies.
You said to me the other day that you wanted to be the best in the world at e-commerce.
Yes.
I think you actually are the best in the world at e-commerce at the moment. You've got the fastest growing e-com brand probably ever. And if we were to pull up your Shopify dashboard, January is the most notoriously tough month for e-com. What revenue did you do last month?
We did 43 million.
That is absurd. Absolutely absurd. How old is the business?
About 2.5 years old.
That's crazy. Well, let's go right back because I'm so excited to be, have worked with you the past probably 2.5 years-ish, maybe a bit less, but it's just been such an exciting time. And I'm so excited to kind of introduce YouTube to you because your story is insane. Your work ethic, the product that you've created. But let's take it right back to the early days. Were you always entrepreneurial?
Yes. I think it's interesting because I didn't know that I was, but I was always walking around in school and I just felt like I was always different. I didn't have a goal to go to college. I didn't even see myself in college. When I was about, I would say in 10th grade, I was 16, homeless for a little bit. I was introduced to the law of attraction and I was thinking about, the way that I could build my life out and what I would be able to accomplish. And I think at that time, I really started to think of look at all these people that have all these amazing things that are happening to them and the businesses that they're growing. And I started to really think about hey, if I start now, and I kind of just signed that contract with myself that I'm going to go and be an entrepreneur. It's not about how I get there, it's just knowing that I will. So throughout 16 to I would say 18 through high school, I was just kind of dabbling in different things. And I actually started a company called Paradigm Luxuries because everyone was talking about paradigm shifts. And I was getting these tiger's eye bracelets and I was selling them in school and trying to sell them online. And I think the business made $200. So I definitely lost money on it, but it was just a really good experience to create something and try to build a website.
How did you create it?
So I was Alibaba, went on.
Back even then.
Yep. And Alibaba since the beginning. And just I saw people wearing these bracelets. This was during the time when people were wearing those Pure Vita bracelets where they had water in them from glaciers and stuff like that. And I saw people wearing them in school and the animal bracelets. I was like, what if we did, tiger's eye beads and lava rocks and talking about, the benefits of the beads and what they stand for. And I was, selling them at lunch to my friends and trying to build an online store. And I can't believe people actually bought off that website.
I'm sure they bought to support you.
Definitely not because the website was good.
In a sec, I want you to break down every single step so that people can copy you and do 500 million as well through their own TikTok shops business. But I think it's important that we just keep pushing through and understanding you as a younger person and how you grew up and probably failed to get to the point you are today. So after you did the bracelets, what happened next?
So the bracelets didn't work. I tried drop shipping, which I don't even know if you knew that. For a short period of time, I was using Oberlo or something, and I was doing that. And then that didn't work at all. When I got out of high school, I was in a really bad state because I wasn't going to college. Like I knew I wasn't going to go. I barely made it out of high school. So I dropped out, I re-enrolled, and I finished high school in night school, which was very interesting and different. So I was going to school obviously at night, and it was an interesting group of individuals that I had met there that, were going through their own things as well, but gave me a lot of perspective on, what other people were dealing with as well. And it kind of made me want to keep my problems. And I think that's usually what ends up happening. You go into a room full of people, you hear about their problems, you want to take yours and run. So, that was kind of getting out of high school. I was like, what do I do? Very depressed at that time. Like, really felt like I had all this, like this mental strength to want to go and build something, but I didn't know what it was yet. But I was still positive in the thought that like I knew that I was going to make it, I just didn't know how. So I actually got involved in the car business, and I was selling cars, and I found purpose. For the first time in my life, I felt like I had real purpose. I was going to work with a reason. Like they were setting competitive nature in the industry. Like there was a lot of people that were like fighting for the top spot, the most sales in a month. And at that time, I was building my first company, which like my first real company, which I still have today, which is Purely White Deluxe. So I was building my oral care brand. The way that I got introduced to it was so funny. I did some side modeling when I was like 18.
I gotta get those photos.
You don't want those photos.
I'm putting them as B-roll.
You don't want those.
No, I'm putting them as B-roll.
And I met this dentist who lived in Venezuela that was doing an incredible job and was building an amazing business. And he was involved in the modeling industry at a time too, and was like, hey man, like you should come model here. At the time I had no facial hair. I had like just a mustache. I had nothing else. And they were like, you're like 18 years old, but like a full blown mustache. Like you should just come down here, start modeling. And I was like, I really don't want to model. I want to like build a business. And he was like, dude, you got to look into teeth whitening. Like the Kardashians were blowing up. Everyone wants to look and feel their best. There's a problem and there's a solution. He's like, the problem is like, what's the alternative to not having white teeth? It's like having yellow teeth. Like go create a product that is going to whiten people's teeth, better oral care hygiene. And I really was like, hey, maybe I should go do this. So nothing in my wildest dreams would I think that my first successful business would be an oral care brand. So at the time I'm in the car business, I'm building out my oral care brand, and I'm like taking that money, and I started with $1,000 in my mom's basement, and we were doing like an assembly line trying to build this teeth whitening company. We were buying boxes from China, we were buying like labeling from Venezuela, we were buying stickers from the United States, and we started with a teeth whitening kit and a charcoal powder. We would buy food grade charcoal, bring it into the house. I had it all over my mom's counters. It was getting all her counters dirty. She was freaking out, but she, it was really great because when I ended up rekindling my relationship with my family and going back with her, she was my biggest supporter ever, and really was one of the biggest reasons why Purely White was successful in the early days.
So you tried drop shipping with Obelow.
Yes.
Which, I've got my free e-commerce course. There are so many people in that come through and they're like, this doesn't work. Drop shipping does not work. E-commerce doesn't work as well. And then you go to building what is probably one of the biggest teeth whitening businesses in the world. There are a couple of bigger ones, but it's $1 million business. What closed that gap of failing? Was it the product selection? Was it you learning something different to really finally get your first success? Yeah,
so we found out paid ads never worked. They never worked for me. So we had to pivot. And we were actually going, Kimberly and I, who Kimberly, she's still with me today, we were going and knocking on influencers' doors, because at this time, influencers, it wasn't really a big thing yet. And people didn't believe in the business. We didn't really have a track record. We didn't have a big social media presence, but I was making phone calls to content creators that were just starting out, making money on Snapchat. TikTok was just coming into play. The first 4 years, the business failed. And that was probably one of the hardest things for us, because we were getting a couple sales here and there. We were doing some like Instagram promotions that really didn't work. And then we found out about Snapchat, and we were seeing that people were getting millions and millions of views on a story post. And because we tried paid ads and it didn't work, we paid for all these courses, got scammed 90% of the time. Like it was a horrible experience, but like we kept failing forward, that we finally were like, hey, there's some people on Long Island that are getting some traction on their Snapchat and TikTok. they were young, they were 18, 19 years old. Their parents wanted to meet us. We went and go to their house and meet the parents, shake hands, tell them about our product and our vision. And that was how Purely White started to get traction. We were actually getting people to make weekly postings on Snapchat saying, this is how I get my teeth white. They would do a cold traffic link. People would click on it, and we ended up at our height we were getting over 300 million views a month.
It's crazy.
And that was how the business grew. But we have no Google ads, no Meta ads. TikTok ads didn't work. It was all organic, cold traffic. And that was how we started to put money in the bank so that we can really try to test the business and grow.
Can you remember a negative or positive story about knocking on some of these doors?
Yeah. I met with this one family, and they seemed excited. And then when we left, the kid, we were only a couple years apart, but the kid texted me. He's like, yeah, my parents think you're just going to scam us. I was like, ow. So it was hard, man. Cause you have all these hopes and aspirations and intentions of doing the right thing. And you have to hope that the other person believes you. And they just, some did, thank God. And others were like, yeah, we're going to pass. And then, as we started to build the business, some of them came back and they're like, hey, we're ready now. But yeah, it was interesting, man. We would go to all walks of life, all places, on Long Island, and just drive an hour to just go meet somebody that just did not want to even see us.
I think this is the perfect segue to Comfrt, because the first conversation we had 2 years ago was around you smashing it on Snapchat. And I was like, wow, this person is finding a way to arbitrage new channels. They're not following the exact playbook of, hey, I'm going to find product channel fit for Facebook, find this new trend. It's got to work on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. And then you did it again with one of the biggest categories in the world, which is clothing, and then one of the biggest emerging channels, TikTok. So how did Comfrt come about? Did that start on Snapchat as well? Or were you just like, this is going to be, TikTok shops is the thing?
So what we ended up doing was, it was like this plug and play method. So we were taking the influencers that worked with us on Purely White Deluxe, and we were bringing them into the clothing brand. But the idea behind Comfrt was, we wanted to build something with so much value, so much bigger than clothing, and really tie in the mental health aspect to donating to charities, and bringing people together and aligning them with such a deep vision. So Purely White, we had a lot of customers, but nobody was really posting about us. They want to, they're in the privacy of their own home, they're in their bathroom, they're whitening their teeth. They don't really want to show that. But Comfrt, clothing is the biggest TAM in the world, and you know that better than anybody. So we were like, hey, we sent, 10 of our favorite hoodies to our manufacturer. We built this hyper hoodie that was really soft, had amazing fabric and super comfortable. And we sent it to our top 15 influencers that worked with Purely White. And the feedback that we got was incredible. I bought Comfrt domain name for $5,000 before the business was even a thing. I was like, this is a great name. We're going to use it. And I just bought it. And we took the funding from Purely White, and we started Comfrt with about $50,000, which now, if you look at the growth trajectory, we went broke so many times trying to build this business. It was, and we'll get into that, some of the things that we've had to do to try to keep the business afloat during the rapid growth phase. But, we sent it to the influencers, and they were like, I haven't taken it off in 3 days. And I was like, oh, we're on to something. So we tied in with mental health charities. We worked with some incredible people that have, a similar, story to me, and people that, didn't have some of the best childhoods, but they were able to align with this company, and it made them feel comfortable and calm, and it played right into the name of the business. So we were really looking towards, and people said it helped with my anxiety, it helped with my stress. We heard all this feedback from real life consumers, and we were like, imagine if we could scale this business and provide people this shield where almost when they get home from a rough day, the first thing they want to do is put on a Comfrt hoodie. And that was how the vision was there. We just needed to bridge that gap. So like you said, we started on Snapchat, we got on TikTok. The difference between Purely White and Comfrt was paid ads really started to work. People were really excited and happy with the messaging, and they aligned. And the website was horrible still. Like I feel like my websites were horrible up until like 6 months ago. And the thing
It
is,
helps
like
when you can have a team.
you're always getting better, but like people
Yeah.
were like, dude, like you're not operating your business at like a 9-figure brand. Like you look like a standard Shopify website. And that was like opening my eyes to like so many things in the business that we could do better. But like the messaging was so strong that people just wanted to support the business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So where did you get the idea for a weighted hoodie?
So I look at this. Whenever I build a business, I look at the levers that you could pull on. There's a problem, there's a solution. There's no real problem in clothing. I mean, like the fabrics you use and things like that, but like you have to have a real solution to a problem. We wanted to create a slightly weighted hoodie that gave you a feeling of like real calm. Like you wanted to really put it on and feel like, wow, this is different than everything else that I have in my closet. And it's versatile. You could wear it out, you could wear it at home. You know, there's such a huge TAM to the business that we were like, this would be amazing if people understood that you can, because we were always, I mean, I like wearing comfortable clothes. I was always searching for like the most comfortable clothing that I could put on and wear it all the time because I work from home. I'm always in the AC, I'm always on the computer, wearing a comfy hoodie, just kind of getting nestled in, hanging out and working for 4 or 5 hours. Like when we got that product, that sample, we were like, oh, we have never felt anything like this. And that was kind of the idea, is if we could master that and bring that to the masses and people got aligned, we think we would have a gigantic business.
So how was the first year of Comfrt?
August of 2022, so September, October, November, December, so 5 months, right? Out of those 5 months, 4 of the months we had no stock. We launched the business and we were priced too high. We were projecting this gigantic drop. We had a lot of influencers posting and ready to go. And it was not a great successful drop. I mean, okay, I will say what we did. We did $10,000 that day. We were projecting $100,000 that day. We were projecting to sell out. And we were priced too high, even though the product was good and we knew it was good. People were like, you're just like a luxury brand and you have no track record. Why are we going to trust you? And you have nothing to show for. Like you have no reviews, you have nothing. So we immediately switched our pricing model. We started dropping the pricing and testing and seeing what worked. We got to the $69 price range and people started to really buy then. As soon as we changed the pricing and doubled down on the traction of how we were promoting, which was Snapchat and organic TikTok. At that time, still no paid ads. We were seeing a huge return because people were loving it and then telling all their friends. And that's one thing that we've seen. Comfrt till this day, no matter how much we spend on ads, our biggest driver of revenue is word of mouth. So we saw that very early on. People were like, oh, this is really comfortable and the pricing is good and we were on sale. They bought it. Honestly, the next 2 weeks, we did $150,000 in revenue. Wow. Week 2 and week 3. Because the first day we were like, all right, we're wrong. We refunded the customers for the 120. We were like, we'll split the difference. We're going to get this pricing right. And then within that first month, we sold out. And manufacturing was horrible. It took about another 3 months just to get product back in. And then we ended out the year. But it was, we saw kind of like an immediate success with a big problem. If we didn't change pricing, the business would have probably failed. And then we got into paid ads that last month, which is that January. And then going into that next year, we really found legs.
So what was kind of the inflection point? Because it sounds like it was starting to go well. Yeah. What was the thing that just made it hyperbolic?
We started running meta ads. And we started running TikTok ads. TikTok Shop wasn't out yet. And we were seeing a 4 to 5 ROAS on our ads, and we were getting unlimited creative at the time from our smaller influencer base. It's so crazy when I have to talk about the early stages, because like now people know, like we have 250,000 plus ambassadors. We have 500 content creators. At that time, 20 tops. We were getting like a minimum of 10 posts a month. We were getting like 200 creatives a month.
Yeah. And
we were testing those creatives. And then we were seeing what worked on Meta and we were just doubling down.
I had 3 daily mentor calls the other day because I have one-on-ones with when they join. And they each did $500,000 in their 3rd month, 3 in a row. And I was like, this is just so strange because that's pretty rare. And I was like, there has to be one commonality between this. So I was asking them a bunch of questions. They all had 200 creatives introduced into that ad account in that third month. And you know what it's like in those early stages when you were talking about it before, where you hadn't even started paid ads, to get 200 creators with no archive of footage, no creators actually in the ambassador, like it's very, very difficult to do, but it is so important.
It's the biggest thing in the world. Like to the people who are going to be watching this, like creative is the only way your business grows. That's it. You could have the best business in the world. It is a quality and quantity play. That's it. Like you need that both, because you've seen it. We've both seen it. The ad that we don't think is going to do well
works.
However that happens. And then we're like the best ad in the world that we spent all this time on flops. You need to have both. And when you have enough creative that you test, the business just, you're able to really see very quickly, you fast track what's not working, what's working, what do we double down on, what are the hooks that are working, what's middle of content, what's call to action, like how do we build out this like hyper video that's going to make sense, and you just really work on the dopamine part of it. I know I'm going to go off on this right now. But
I want to drill down on that heap. So how does a new brand get a group of 20 creators early on?
You as the founder have to have an unbelievable vision. Like when I started with our group, I dangled this carrot of like, this is what it could be, but I can't get there without you. And if you as a creator are willing to take this journey with me and believe in me, and Purely White had a track record. The business did about 10 million 1 year. Last year we had our biggest year, and this year we're projecting to do over 35 million in revenue.
That's your side hustle.
That's my side hustle. that's my dude. First of all, that's my baby. But that's like this. Like, it doesn't take as nearly as much time as Comfrt. I mean, Comfrt takes all my time. But the business took. We're in year 9. Think about this. We're in year 9. We're projecting our best year, and Comfrt does that in 2.5 weeks.
Exactly.
So like that is just going to show like the business, the TAM, solving a problem, the levers. You have to really like show the vision of the business and where you want to take it. So that was what we did with the content creators. We just showed them this crazy vision of where we wanted the business to go. And if they tied in with us and helped us and we saw what was already working, if they did that, like there was going to be like an incredible result that we were able to drive.
By showing them vision, you kind of remove the transactional element of it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where, a lot of the tutorials out there, it's like you reach out to the creator, say, hey, I want a piece of content. And it's like, hey, it's $300, $500, 3 hooks, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, that is so transactional.
Yeah.
Whereas you jump on a call with these people and you tell me the story about the waitress that you kind of changed her life.
I do the phone calls in the beginning. We bring on our creators. Whoever does really well does outreach for the business on our behalf, and they talk about their personal experience with Comfrt. And then from there, they're the ones recruiting. It's different than hearing from the founder. You're hearing from a creator that's just like you, that's making money. So the way we found the waitress is because we had a content creator that saw potential in her and said, hey, we think that she would be incredible for Comfrt. So we reached out to her. She was actually making UGC every single week for $25 a video, just so that we can push on our TikTok account to just get organic traction. I saw her content. I was like, wow, she could be amazing. She was making about $25,000 a year as a waitress. She was in a really rough spot. Incredible girl, one of the sweetest people on the planet. And she shared her story with me. And she was like, I want to take this thing to the next level with you. And I believe in your vision, Hudson. And I was like, do this, do that. Let's work on this and tweak this. Like I gave I was like, we need this many pieces of content. We need this many hooks, this many middle of contents, this many call to actions. We need to test this type of verbiage. She did all of it. Everything that we recommended, she did, and then like did it tenfold. She now makes over $100,000 a month. It changed
100K a month.
It changed her life. It changed her family's life. She said, Hudson, my family, my mom and my dad combined have never made $100,000 in a year. We're making over $100,000 a month. You've changed my entire family's life. And I was like, it's not me, it's you. Like you're doing it. Without you, I have no business. And like, they know that. Like they know, and I'm okay being vulnerable. Like, I don't care. Like I need you. You don't need me.
Well, it's positive sum, right? So
Because like they don't need me. They could go work with any business.
2.
They could go work with any business in the world. They choose to work with us because we've created a family. I could have them sitting in this chair right now, explaining the business the exact same way that I'm explaining it to you. They know everything. What's in stock? What's my best sellers? What's out of stock? What we're projecting in revenue? How we're going to get there? What videos are performing the best? What's performing the worst? Every single aspect of the business, they know. They know me. We meet once a quarter. We do brand trips. Like we do things. And these content creators, mind you, they're not A-list creators. They're micro creators that have never worked with a big brand ever, that we saw a vision in and we were like, we're excited to get working with you because we see the potential. And then they saw the potential in us and it was like a match made in heaven. So for anybody like, you don't need 5 million followers, I've worked with them. No revenue. They generate no revenue because people look at them and they're like, you got paid for that. You work with 50 different brands. I want to see a content creator that has 10,000 followers that works with nobody, that is so excited. A lot of the people that work with us today are customers. The 250,000 plus ambassadors now, more than half of them are like purchasers that are so excited about what we stand for that they're so aligned that they just want to be a part of it in any way that they can.
So for a beginner, they need to sell the vision. They need to work with an influencer that's probably less than 10,000 followers initially, maybe even like 2,000, 3,000.
Yeah, it doesn't
still
matter.
could work.
Yeah.
Or customers.
Yeah.
But how do you find those initial ones if you don't have any customers? Is it like, should they start on Meta or should they find these creators initially?
Go scroll on Instagram. Go scroll on TikTok. Go take a look at like your business. You know what it's doing. Right? What the objective is, what the benefit is. Go find content creators that align with your vision of your brand, where you want to take it. Go scroll. Find someone that makes good content. We have some creators that they're really like, they're amazing with aesthetics and creating great visuals on content, but they're poor at speaking to the camera. So what we did was we have them do voiceovers, and then they got good enough with the voiceovers. They were confident to
Genius.
go. We have 80,000 different ways of making content for every single walk of life, and it works. Podcasts, street interviews, going and doing interviews with your family members, having them try the products, hearing their first reactions, voiceovers, speaking to the camera, different hooks, throwing the Comfrt on the bed, shocking the camera, doing hooks. We have a podcast that had 40 million views. One of my friends, they slapped his leg. Simon Beard talks about it all the time. He's like, the tonality and the pitch of the content, like you learn what moves the needle. And when you can train, we have ChatGPT, Claude AI, you go and bring your hooks into those and you have it spew out 100 different hooks that you think would go viral. Like go use AI to your advantage. Go bring that to your team meetings with your creators. Go have them test it. Goes back to the creative, unlimited creative. We right now have over 10,000 creatives a week going out.
That's insane.
We have the most active ads of any company on the planet. And it's all because we need to test. Meta does better in one way. Snapchat does better in another way. Pinterest does better in another way. TikTok does better in another way. So you kind of have like those different pockets of content that appeal to those demographics. And you just want to keep doubling down on what's working, but you don't know unless you repurpose all of that content where you originated and then you just put it everywhere.
So I think it's worth us chatting about the inflection point within the industry that has allowed you to do this, which is affiliate creators. Yeah. So what has now happened is initially that transactional relationship that I talked about before, person goes to creator, says, here, give me a piece of creative for $300. Now the creator can post on something like TikTok Shops without your approval. We'll just post it and then they can make money and they can see if it converts or not. And then they make a little bit of money and then they want to post again. And that is why it really, really snowballs. Can you explain TikTok Shops and whether you would recommend it for a beginner at this stage? Like in that, before I was talking about, go find someone under 3,000 followers or whatever. Do we want to put them on TikTok Shops straight away? Yeah. Or how would you go about it?
You're a business and you have TikTok Shops, you double, triple, quadruple down on TikTok Shops. The thing is this, in the early stages of your business, this is what you have to do. There's no other way to do it. So you're going to do it like this. You give them an either or. we'll give you $1,000 a month, let's just say, or the commission rate, 15, 20% commission. Whichever earns you more, we're willing to pay, but you have $1,000 minimum. I need a video a day from you for 30 days.
Wow.
Get 30 pieces of content, post it all on Shops. Remember what happens now. They make the commission on Shops and they get paid from TikTok. So now all of a sudden a video goes viral. They make 4, 5, 6 grand on their video. They're hooked. Where do you make that type of money? Davie, like 100 grand in a month as a content creator with less than 20,000 followers. Where does that exist? 100 grand a month in e-com for a founder, you have to be making over
$5 million a year revenue for an
bring
e-com
in
business.
like they make that money. You give them that celebrity treatment. You respect them, you trust them, and they work with you. In the beginning, any brand, you have to find what works in your business, try to solve the problem in your industry. And then what you want to do with that content creator is you're going and scrolling, you're messaging them, you're getting on phone calls, you're bringing them into business, and then you're giving them, hey, we'll give you $1,000 minimum just for you to give me 30 pieces of content. I want it this similar way. Use this product, because you have to have your hero product that you know is going to work. Obviously, everybody knows what their best-selling product is. And if you don't, go test it and find it. And then from there, like when they start making that content, they start making money, immediately have them on the other end, pay them a small salary to go recruit for you.
For sure.
And then double down. That's the snowball effect.
It's amazing.
Yeah, TikTok Shops, like if I was starting over tomorrow, I'm on the phone, I'm getting to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, 30 pieces of content is a lot of content. A lot of people would just be doing 2, 3 pieces of content, or that's the request. But tell me about how you utilize that content in other ways. Do you then post it on Facebook? Do you reward people for that?
Yeah. So we will go and repurpose content across all channels. So sometimes we do whitelisting on Meta. So whitelisting is just pretty much you're showing the ad as the creator's name opposed to the business's name. And what we're doing is we're doing that with a select group of people, like maybe 10 people that will only make content just for Meta. But then what we'll do is we'll repurpose all of our content from TikTok to Meta to Pinterest to Snapchat. So we do it that way. And then we pay commission on those channels as well.
Wow.
So you have like this unlimited, I like to explain it to my content creators like this. For every collection and every product, every color in Comfrt, it's one avenue of revenue. It's a stream of revenue. So we have over 150 streams of revenue that could be making you money on a daily basis while you sleep. You promote every single color, every single collection in the business. We're running those as ads, whether it's Shops or Meta or website from TikTok or Snapchat or Pinterest. If we're running those and they're winning, you're getting paid. So here's your revenue streams. Why not go give yourself 150 plus revenue streams to go make money? And that's how we've phrased it. Like, you can make as much content as you want. The worst that can happen is you make money. Like, but if the content doesn't work, we don't pay for it. Everything is commission only. And for people who are watching this that are going to have to pay that upfront retainer in the beginning just to kind of build the traction, at a point, they'll be making so much money that the commission is paying more than the retainer. So you're never coming out of pocket. You're only paying when it makes money. You never pay unless that happens.
What's a really advanced TikTok Shops or affiliate creator tip that you have that nobody else does that you came up with?
You need to be posting 5 to 7 pieces of content a day per creator.
Wow.
If you can
so one creator is posting 5 TikToks a day, pushing to TikTok Shops. That's a lot of volume.
Pays
money. And is that the same on Instagram as well, or they're not willing to do that on Instagram?
We just repurpose it. So we post all those videos and already.
But they're posting on their account, right?
No, they're not. They're not posting it on their.
But they will start posting it as soon as Instagram Shops comes.
Instagram Shop comes, we're there.
Cool.
But TikTok Shop, it's a numbers game, quality, quantity game. Like we said, like 5 to 7 pieces of content a day is a lot of content because we made it a lot of content. Like who says it's a lot? Opinion.
That's a good point.
Matter of opinion. If it's
profitable, it's profitable.
If you go take a Saturday and Sunday, because we have content creators that have quit their jobs as nurses and like real jobs that are making them $90, $100, $120,000 a year. They've quit to come work full time with the businesses because they see the vision and they know where it's going. So I think for them, it's like, instead of them going to their 9 to 5, How easy is it to go do a content day, go post
That's a lot of pressure, isn't it? How do you deal with that pressure? Because you're not, you kind of, how many creators have you got?
We have over internally that make content on a daily basis about 500.
You've got 500 employees technically.
Yeah, plus your real employees, yeah,
which is very, very low considering how much revenue. I'm constantly like hire more.
Plus 5 other people.
Yeah, plus 5 other people. 500 million, 100 million per employee. But anyway, how do you deal with the pressure? There's a lot of people there relying on you.
I don't feel it anymore. I look at it like this. When it was all me, and I was a year ago, right, in January, let's just say we're filming this in February, so January last year, it was me and Kimberly. And that was it. No COO, no CFO. And who did I have that conversation with? You're like, Hudson, you're out of your mind. Like, you have to go higher. And then I was like, this is how much I have to pay? And it was like, you're like, it's either that or your business fails. And that, to me, I was like, damn, I gotta get to work. And I think that, you know, you've been, I didn't want to get into this, but like, dude, you're one of the biggest blessings in my life ever.
I appreciate that, man.
And for people who are watching this, that like, you know, there's always like people that hate and people like, dude, anybody that knows my story and your story, like, I used to watch you on YouTube and your course, like, you build $1 million brand. And I used to watch your course and take notes and sit on my computer. And like, you said whitelisting. I didn't know what that meant. I was writing it down and I was like, oh, this is whitelisting. This is this is that. Like, finding a mentor early on was like the biggest blessing in my life. And I DM'd you, and then I DM'd you again, and then I DM'd you again. And then we got on a call, and the first thing I wanted to do was like try to give you value. Because I was like, if I could show Davie.
You did. You told me about the Snapchat thing. It was awesome.
And I was like, if he knows that I have value, maybe like we could build a relationship from here. So I think like that was one of the biggest things. Damn, I just got caught up in that. The question was,
what was the question? I lost
content creators and my employees and pressure.
Yeah, pressure.
The pressure was, and I want to keep that part. I'm not cutting that part because that matters a lot to me, dude. You change. We're talking about my employees. You change my fucking life. And I think that with the employee piece is like, the pressure is now I have 15, 20 individuals internally that are working every single day with my vision to make this business work, right? And then the content creators every single day, they're going in and they know the vision and they're going and doing the same thing to make this vision work. So I have an army of people that think like me and know exactly where the business is going like me, that want to make this thing work as bad as I do. There's never a too big to fail, but we have so many people that are dedicating their life to this business that I have so much confidence and conviction. And the thing that everybody has to know is like, you need to almost be a little delusional in the beginning.
Of course.
You have to have this crazy vision that you can't touch it yet. When I was 16, I started this. I saw myself as a millionaire, but I was like, I don't know how I'll get there. I just know I will. And it's the same thing with Comfrt today. I know we're $1 billion company. It's happened. Time has to catch up. And that's the way that my whole team, like the girls that have had their biggest month this month, they've changed their life. They quit their job. Like, they're so happy and excited. They've never been happier. That energy just breeds growth. And that's the way that I don't feel that pressure.
You paid me a compliment before, so I'll pay you one. I think I went from 3 million, 20 million, like 200 million in such a short period of time, but you've experienced that growth as well. And then we stopped growing. And why I think you will keep growing and go past that is you. Your leadership is like infectious. It's kind of hard to communicate jumping on a team call with you or jumping on, watching you work with creators. Every single call, you express the vision one more time. You don't care if you've said it again. You say that you're dialed 4 times. We're fucking dialed. We can do this. We can be $1 billion brand. And it's just like, your employees are willing to work those 12-hour days. Everyone is on the journey. And I think that is the main thing that I learned from you is like that intensity you can just never let up.
Yeah, you can't, because you have to, there's a quote, I might butcher it, but
give it a go.
You can't let your ambition rob you of your current blessings, because there was once a time that you were exactly where you wanted to be right now. And the thing is, when I was 16 and I was going through those emotional roller coasters, like, you tell me that I'm gonna have a business that can do $500 million this year, what is not to wake up and be excited about every fucking day?
Love that.
And keep that integrity in the business and show people and give crazy bonuses to your creators and your employees and make them know that, like, their family, like, this is home. This is their home. I dare someone to try to come poach my employees. I would love to see how that conversation goes.
I love that.
Never will happen, because, like, we've created such a team and such a, like, my CFO is coming to our design calls and he's like, I think we should do
it's
this.
It's very unorthodox, by the way.
It is unorthodox. Dude, our whole business is unorthodox. And he's like, I think we should do this. We're coming out with luggage. And he's like, I think we should put this. And I'm like, and we're all like, oh shit.
It's a good idea.
He's like 65, was at Ralph Lauren for 17 years, like never did design in his life. And like,
so this is the difference. Cause I've worked in a few 9-figure companies and gotten involved mentoring them. And this is the difference. Most CFOs in that situation would be like, why do I have to come onto this another call? And yours are like, please let me on this call. Yeah. Even if I have to do my work after it, I want to be along for the journey.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a powerful thing. We all start as unworthy of having a 9-figure business. I don't know anyone that has just kind of grown 20, 30% and just really eased into it. You get thrown into the deep end and you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
What's been your main takeaway in that journey? What's the main thing that you've learned that is important to have that $100 million business?
You need an unbelievable support system. Our customer support broke. We at a point had too many content creators internally. We were breaking there. As you scale your business, you run into problems. And you said it to me perfectly. You're like, there's a point where you get to in like, all of your problems are things that a lot of people have never experienced at this level. And the circle kind of gets smaller and smaller of people you can communicate that with that have experienced that. So for me, like, thank God I have you. Thank God I had Simon. Thank God I had Kevin from Glamnetic and Ryan Pamplin from BlendJet. Like those guys that you just like meet and they're like, dude, this is all gonna fucking crumble if you don't fix this. And a lot of it was crumbling, but we were aware that it was happening and we immediately were bringing people into the business. I mean, at one point we brought in agencies to help with customer support. We brought on 40 new customer support reps, like within a month. We were hiring rapidly. We were bringing people into the business like it was lightning speed, because we did our whole year in 2 months. We did 100 million in 2 months. We did November, December. So like...
And you sold out.
And we sold out of everything. And we were sold out. We couldn't even release an SMS or email on Black Friday. We were trending so hot that we had to literally put items out of stock on the website that still had stock, because going into December, we would have zero inventory. So like that, yeah, it sounds like a great problem, because it is. But the whole business would crumble. Our ad accounts would crumble. We'd go from all of our spend down to nothing. We'd have to restructure. We'd have to get back into the learning phase on Meta. Like real problems that we would incur in the business. Yeah, you get a short-term gain. You're making money, but your business long-term wise would fail. And like people that have a business that are watching this, like they know what I'm saying, and people that don't are going to be like, oh, like that's a bad problem. You made money. Like, no, dude, your business, yeah, we made money. Now we'd be fucked for the next 4 or 5 months. We would crumble, try to rebuild. So like you have to, dude, we put a flash sale on Shopify. I told you this. We had our first $1 million day, the beginning of October. We did 1 million, 1.5 million, 1.8 million. My COO is like, he like went gray and then bald all in the same day. He's like, Hudson, we're gonna, like he freaked out on me, and I'm like, but it worked.
But it worked.
Yeah, and he's like, I get it, but like, fuck. So that we learned. Now we've become a business that can sustain 40, 50, 60 a month. We can sustain that now.
Yeah.
At 100 a month, right? Because that's our goal now. Like we want to go and do that. What's going to break on that road? Like, what are we going to have to fix? Who are we bringing to the business? I can tell you right now, you've seen my org chart. Like, we got like 18 spots that are like hiring. We're looking.
That one might be out of my pay grade. I think you need to call up some billionaire e-commerce people. So, but look, I'm so excited, as I said, to introduce YouTube to you, because you are a genuine person and you should be a leader in this space. You should be well known. Should be listened to. So I wish you all the best. I've loved working with you and keep crushing it.
Oh, brother, thank you.
Love it.